Hey.
Oh, hey, hello there.
We're a little late.
Hey, so we're chilling by the pool or the
Hang loose, bro.
what passes for a pool here at the Central Valley Talk Studios.
It's a glass of water.
It's a glass of water with a few ice cubes in it. So, how about this weather?
It's fabulous.
You know, I was telling Eric the other day I could take this all summer long. About 4 or 5 days of hot weather, 80, 85, and then 3 or 4 days of 70s.
I'd rather be a little chilly in the morning, a little warm in the afternoon so you could, get a little sun, and then a little chilly in the evening. We still have a little down comforter on at night. Oh, it's glorious.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Oh, not looking forward to the heat. Mama schwitzes in the heat.
Now, hopefully, we're not experiencing this at the cost of
we
people.
are. Oh, we are.
Yeah, is that what you think
Oh,
so?
yeah.
Yeah. So just before we got ready to come on the air here, there was word that there were a couple of tornadoes in Oklahoma City, and so far 7 people are dead.
And Joplin, Missouri is just...
The death toll's up to 122, and we've got some aerial photos, I think, of Joplin. That if you saw videos of the tornado...
it was huge.
Have you been in a tornado?
No.
See, I'm from Indiana, which is kind of tornado country, and then I lived in Texas, which is also tornado country. And so I've been around them. I've never been actually in one, but just looking at the one that was there in Joplin and the size of it, apparently, and usually you don't have rain with a tornado. You just have it's very still and quiet and calm, and then it happens. I think Sean's got a video of the tornado here. Maybe we can talk over that.
Okay.
But usually it's very quiet and still before a tornado comes because it's hot. But with this one, there was a lot of wind and rain, so apparently people were criticizing that the sirens didn't sound early enough. But it didn't make any difference because you wouldn't have heard them anyway. There it is. 3/4 of a mile wide.
Unbelievable.
150 mile an hour winds. And it cut a 6-mile path through the south part of the city. Basically,
some 9-year-old kid put on his bicycle helmet before he dove into the bathtub.
Yeah, I saw the mom.
How brilliant is that?
I saw the mom on this morning, and she said that it actually saved his life because the toilet came loose during the storm and hit him in the head and then her in the back. And if he hadn't had the bicycle helmet on, he would have been dead. So.
I didn't hear that part.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord.
So there's still a bunch of people missing, and our thoughts and our prayers go out to those people. They're still having real problems with their cell phone reception, so that's why a lot of people are missing. They're not able to contact these people. But, people were in the Walmart, it's gone. People were in the Home Depot, it's gone. Ironically...
It looked like a moonscape.
Ironically, a lot of soldiers who said that they'd been in war zones in Iraq and Afghanistan and elsewhere, and it didn't even compare. It didn't compare.
God.
So, and I have this to say about those who say that this is not climate change. There were 70 tornadoes last weekend. 70. And last month when Alabama got hit, Tuscaloosa, there were 120 or 130 within 2 days. That's not normal.
And this is the beginning of tornado season, the beginning.
Well, and this is what is happening with 1 degree of temperature change.
Yeah.
1 degree. So... And I challenge the people who don't believe in climate change, especially those who call themselves Christian. It's your job to care about your fellow men. So I challenge you to this. Even, let's say for one moment, climate change doesn't exist. I'll humor you for 1 second. Even if there's the slightest chance, if there's a 1% chance that something you can do, you personally can do, to stop this kind of thing from happening, isn't it worth it?
Absolutely.
Isn't it worth that little time? So it's going to cost you a little bit more for gas. So it might cost you a little bit more for heating oil. So the oil companies might make $14 billion instead of $16 billion. I think it's worth it. It's worth all those lives. It's worth it to the people in Joplin and now Oklahoma City and Lord knows who else. There are tornadoes headed toward Joplin again. So this is ridiculous, people. It's ridiculous. And speaking of ridiculous, let's talk about the proposed nuclear power plant.
Okay, let's.
It is the most ludicrous, ridiculous thing that I've ever heard. What I find absolutely... Didn't Al Gore cause climate change? No, he invented the internet.
He was too busy inventing the internet.
That's right. He was inventing the internet.
That's funny.
And spending time with Tipper. So, Tipper and I, anyway. It probably would have been good if he won instead of Bush because we would have been bored to sleep for about 8 years. So.
I voted for Al Gore. Al
So
Gore
did I.
was brilliant. Is brilliant.
He just was annoying.
Well, what was so surprising is he let us see his personality after the election. After the election, the presidential election.
Well,
why didn't he show us before the election? I mean, come on.
I'm reading a wonderful book, and I'll let you read it when I'm done. It's actually not new. It's from 2004. It's Maureen Dowd's Bush World.
Oh.
And what's interesting is it's a series of her articles and thoughts from the campaign through the election and then through the entire term. And it's very interesting to see, how perceptive, first of all, she was for this whole thing, and secondly, some of the little things that happened. And before 9/11, of course, Gore's boring as hell, but he's better than the other guy. And then afterwards she says, oh my God, what was I thinking? I'm so sorry, Al Gore. Because Bush didn't care. I mean, Al-Qaeda was small potatoes. They didn't want to worry about that. That was a leftover Clinton problem. They didn't want to deal with that. So.
What was the most shocking to me is that when he was told that he was in some kindergarten class or an elementary school class, and I don't know if a little kid was reading or there was a little group of kids around him, and someone whispered into his ear, the Twin Towers, are collapsing, and he sat there for, 12 minutes or some
That was deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, if something like that happens, you calmly say, excuse me, kids, I have to go be the president now, and you get the heck out, and you do something.
Well, except for the fact that, and when you read Maureen Dowd, you'll understand this, he wasn't being the president to that point. He was being managed. He had no foreign policy experience. He had Condoleezza Rice and all these people, his father, they put all these people from the Ford administration and from the Bush administration in charge. He was being minded.
Well, he was a puppet.
He was being handled, yeah.
Hello,
well, you know what,
Marionette.
though? You know what, though? But then when he actually got into decision making,
well, that was a bigger problem.
so which was better? Okay.
Yeah.
So it turns out there's good news today that the Fresno County Board of Supervisors is going to delay their vote on the nuclear power plant. It's absurd. First of all, the name that they've given it, the Fresno Clean Energy Park. There's nothing clean about nuclear energy. Sorry, there's nothing clean about nuclear energy. There's no safe way to get rid of it. And John Hudson.
And you need the water. You need to pull in the water to be able to
And where's
cool
that
it.
water going to come from? Because we don't have water already.
We don't have water. Farmers don't get water.
See, the farmers on the west side of the
How are they
going to
find the water?
They're already complaining that they're not getting any water. But if this nuclear power plant is going to take, 160 gazillion gallons of water or whatever it takes to run 2 nuclear power plants, then where's that water going to come from? Oh, we're going to desalinate it. But you have to have something to run that with so you can desalinate the water. So, and this is a letter to the Fresno Bee from John Hudson, who, as far as I'm concerned, has absolutely no business writing a letter to the editor of the Fresno Bee.
How do you really feel?
It's self-serving. It's totally self-serving.
Read the letter.
Does the public realize that Fresno Nuclear Energy's Clean Energy Park, after desalinating water, will use the captured salt to produce building materials? The making of these building materials, when produced with CO2-free energy, I guess that would be the nuclear power. It's CO2-free, but it's not strontium-90 and all these other wonderful things free. Will create it'll create a carbon-negative operation. In other words, more CO2 will be taken out of the air than is put in.
How are you,
Mr. Hudson? I want you to come on this show and tell me how you're taking CO2 out of the air with 2 nuclear power plants. You're not taking nuclear.
We've given you
you're
a
not
challenge.
taking CO2 out of the air. You might be at some point after you've stolen the water that we already don't have to run your nuclear power plant, and then you've piped in apparently seawater. I'm going to assume from the ocean to desalinate it.
How's that going to get here?
Well, that would have to be powered again, by something. See, and the thing is, this joker wants to pass this off not as a nuclear power plant, but as a part of a water treatment facility. So it's not nuclear power plant. It's a water treatment facility. Now, there is some good news. News broke today that California Secretary of State Deborah Bowen cleared a ballot proposition for signature gathering that aims to shut down all of the state's nuclear power plants.
Really?
It'll never pass. That's like tilting at windmills, but it's nice to see that there are some people who have their heads on straight when it comes to this issue. The guy who put the thing forward, Ben Davis Jr. of Santa Cruz County, has until October 20th to gather 504,760 valid registered voters' signatures to qualify the measure for the ballot. Mr. Davis, if you are listening, if anybody's listening and knows Mr. Davis, please contact me. I will go out and stand in front of Target and Walmart and Save Mart and the Save Mart Center and at Fresno State and walk up and down Shaw Avenue and gather signatures. Naked if necessary. Hey, if that's
it'll
what
get
it takes,
attention.
If that's what it takes, then that's what I will do. Absolutely. Let's see.
I'm just going to volunteer him for that.
We're going to do a couple of real quick things here. We're going to have fun. I decided we should have fun because it's almost Memorial Day. So what we're going to do...
And because I'm too tired to be pissed off because I have 11 teaching days left. 11 times I have to wake up.
So...
Actually 10 because I'm taking Friday off.
Did you hear about the teacher?
I can't even make it 11 more days.
Did you hear about this teacher that gave the students chloroform?
Well, allegedly.
Well, the thing is, they said they ingested it. Why would you ingest chloroform? What did they mean they smelled it?
Allegedly, she showed them how to ingest it, meaning I would assume, like you see it in the movies,
well, they don't do the
pour it on a rag and...
They don't do the frogs anymore, though, right? In biology class, they don't dissect frogs?
Don't think so. What they said is chloroform is not part of the curriculum anymore, so they don't know why she had it. And one kid passed out, one kid went to sleep, for only about an hour. But I think it's insane that a teacher would allow it. I could imagine a couple of kids having it and doing it without the teacher knowing, and they have something against her and accuse her.
Well, that's part of a...
It just seems insane that any teacher in their at all right mind
You're right.
would do this.
Well, it's part
so
of
I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt.
The Craig Ferguson routine,
What?
Chloroform as a recreational drug.
No.
Yeah, but he apparently came to the U.S. and went out with his cousins, and they went to a concert, Blue Oyster Cult. Was it Deep Purple or Blue Oyster Cult? Deep Purple. He went to a Deep Purple concert.
Deep Purple.
And they're like, here, have this cigarette. And he was like, oh, this is a great concert. So then he went back to the U.K., to Scotland, and it was harder to get drugs. And so a friend of his brother's said, hey, I got something for you. And he sold him chloroform. So then he went to the Blue Oyster Cult concert in Scotland, and and the concert started. He took his little vial of chloroform, took a big hit of it, and woke up 2 hours later.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Right. Okay, we're gonna go away. We're gonna touch on a couple of other things.
That's how I lived through the 80s. Not on chloroform. No, not on chloroform, but
studying.
Woke up 2 hours later, and
yes,
thank you very much.
So we're gonna come back. We got a couple of quick things. I want to talk about some things in the mayor's budget, which is ludicrous, and Jen wants to talk about the national debt, and then we're gonna do a non-cooking cooking segment, and I'm gonna teach you some.
And I'm gonna do an eating contest.
I'm gonna teach you some of my best tricks for getting things done quickly to get the hell out of the kitchen and enjoy this beautiful weather for Memorial Day weekend. So get your pens and papers ready, because I'm only going to say
You're going to want to write this down.
You're going to want to write this down. I'll see you in a minute.